Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking again about this potential large winter storm that will be occurring towards the end of this week. Now again, from yesterday, I wouldn't say that the confidence has gone up or gone down in any significant kind of manner because of the fact that, well, there's definitely many models still showing many scenarios, and I do still think that there will be a winter storm of some kind. Just again, it's a bit interesting to see whether or not it will be a nor'easter. Some models are showing that. There's some are showing a classic panhandle low kind of curving through much of the central United States and into the Great Lakes. Some are taking the system, straddling it across the Canadian-U.S. border, dropping snow to the north, dropping heavy rain to the south. So many different scenarios, but there's definitely a system brewing, and it's going to be a pretty big storm, I think. So there's definitely something to watch for and kind of talk about. And I'll be showing you the different scenarios using the GFS, Canadian and European. I would be showing you the ensembles, except I want to keep the video shorter. And just to let you know that, again, the ensembles support the kind of different variations. Some, again, agreeing with the GFS, Canadian or European versions, which, again, I will be showing you all of them. I do want to say that I still kind of have some microphone issues. It's a bit loud for some reason, and it's sometimes peaking and grainy, so I don't know how well it will turn out today, but I placed the microphone a bit further away. We'll see. But if you are new to this channel, before starting this, I do want to say check out the video, check out the channel, see for yourself if you would enjoy this type of material, obviously, and if you do enjoy it, again, consider subscribing, consider liking the video. Otherwise, let's get into this video and let me start talking about these models. So, or about the storm using the models. So, first off, as I mentioned, this week quiet, but there will be several clippers that will be, I guess, not making a quiet period of weather for the northern United States, the areas impacted, but you can see they're relatively small and it won't be affecting a majority of the United States, but obviously where it does affect the the areas, there will be quite a bit of action. I mean, look at it, look how big that system could get for southern Canada. That is definitely something to watch for if you're a citizen of mainly Canada. Now notice that as I push this forward, what we are seeing throughout this week, and we've already seen it starting, we see a very large low pressure, or sorry, a very large ridging, and it's going to release a lot of warm air. So if you live really, I would say, anywhere south of Wisconsin, Michigan, and into south of New York State, right? Let me draw out this line just to make it a bit simpler, because I don't want to name 1,000 different states. This is basically where you could expect some very decently warm temperatures. People are asking me, is it still going to warm up? And yes, this is going to be the week of warm temperatures, I think, before a cool down with that system kind of initiating it. And also a more active pattern. Look at this. I mean, these are really, really warm temperatures. Look at Montana, 60s, 50s. This is a bit too warm. In fact, I guess fire danger could be a significant threat, again, because of how dry it is in some areas, and of course of how relatively warm it is. I mean, seriously, 60s all the way potentially into Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, South Dakota, again, Montana, all the way up into potentially, the DC area. And you can see that there is like that icy knife dagger kind of hanging above that warm air, so it's a pretty close reminder that winter is there, and it will be definitely a very warm start to much of December for much of the south. If you live anywhere across these areas, it's a very good chance, even though this is just one model, it's a very good chance you will be ending up in the 70s, maybe some 80s across Florida, if not even warmer towards Texas, maybe even some mid 80s. So that is definitely a warm, and you can see right there, you have 80, 88, obviously down further into Mexico and the Caribbean is very, very warm. But yes, very chilly temperatures start appearing towards the north later on into this week, and that's out ahead of that system. There's a lot of moisture, right? Where you have warm air from the Gulf of Mexico, you often have moisture coinciding with that. Now, at this point, this is Sunday, so this is 132 hours out, right? So basically, up until this time frame, it's going to be decently warm, if not very warm, for much of the United States. Probably the warmest day overall, I would argue, being probably Wednesday or Thursday, and yeah, definitely Thursday, I think. And you can see all across the mountainous areas from the northwest towards the northeast, from mountain range to mountain range, right, from coast to coast, pretty darn warm. And anomalies really reflect that, and they show a lot warmer than average temperatures. In fact, a late fall, early winter heat wave. I mean, those are some significantly above your normal temperatures. That is extremely warm, folks. But do notice that as I push this forward, I'll just play this out through time. Where we do start seeing that dwindle. We start seeing some cooler air, some little hooks. That is an indication of low pressures taking advantage of that warm air, producing probably bountiful amounts of precipitation. But notice that December, for the first probably 10 days at least, it seems relatively warm. We do have a lot of cold air towards the north, and we'll have to wait and see if that makes its way into the United States. But honestly, even if you want snow, you don't necessarily need a extremely cold pattern to see snow, and I'll show you that's what I mean by that. So let's take a look at the MSL precip, or MSLP precip. So again, clippers all the way to the north. Anywhere else it's south, it's dry, really rain. If it does occur, any precip, you can see rain all the way into southern Canada. Notice again, there's a lot of moisture just floating around, ready to get absorbed by a system. I mean, a very moisture fluent or moisture filled air mass, and any little system from the Pacific, which you could see on Sunday, comes across, according to the GFS, it picks up a lot of precip very quickly. Look at that, boom, heavy snow right away into Michigan and Wisconsin, Illinois. Obviously heavy rain where where it's not cold enough and the rain falls in liquid form, and you can see it blows off into the northeast as a pretty strong system. Again, that's the storm we're talking about, and I'm specifically referring to in the past couple of videos. And again, I did mention some models like the European midnight model run of yesterday did show this system as a nor'easter, and it developed it into a wind beast system, kind of whipping off the coast. Again, probably 100 miles to the south of what the GFS is showing. Regardless, though, they both support the theory that there will be a large significant storm system towards the end of this week, out ahead of this or behind this, a very warm air mass that will be affecting much of the United States. Behind this, no, it's not a quiet active pattern or a calm pattern. It's an active pattern. We still see a lot of moisture. You can see some of that spills into the southwest. That looks very good. That would be very beneficial. There's definitely a lot of snow from that. It's very heavy rain across the south, potentially some severe weather. Definitely an anomaly in terms of how much rain could be falling from that, and you can see nothing really results out of this in terms of a massive storm, but the GFS does show some signs of that snow potentially transitioning, or rain transitioning to snow, to have a series of little Alberta clippers. And look what the GFS does. I mean, it shows a lot of snow across the west, and that eventually evolves into a massive system. So I think regardless of which way you look at it, it's looking pretty active. Here, let me show you the noon model run of today. Again, clippers for the rest of this week. This is now Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can see there's that little system. It's a little at first, turns into a big system. You can see with the with the midnight, sorry, with the noon model run of today, right? So 6 hours ago, prior to the one I just showed you, it showed that same system, really, right? And you can see that's the same storm, but it was a bit further towards the south, which would drop a bit more snow into the northeast. But eventually, it does transition the coastal areas into snow and into rain, but a lot of snow on the northern side of this system. And you can see that again, that is a very buoyant system, very impressive and extremely heavy with various types of precip. We have another system according to this model run coming in right after it with lots of rain, some snow, a lot of rain, and potentially snow for the southwest. I mean, that's a lot of activity that would be beneficial. Look, storm after storm, some storms across the Midwest. So again, it's becoming more and more constant that we're seeing. Look at that. That would be an insane dose of precipitation, and honestly, I would much rather have a pattern that brings a lot of precip to this area. Even though I'm a snow lover, this would be a absolute, I mean, that would be amazing if those areas could see that much snow. Where obviously, where the snow shouldn't fall, that wouldn't be good because of various complications, but I'm thinking more of the long term with the drought and whatnot. If a pattern like this were to come true, you could still see that a fair amount of the United States would get in on some activity in terms of snow and rain, obviously, but this would be really good news. Obviously, the British Columbia area, where they have been dealing with very significant flooding, not the best, but the southwest has been high and dry, and it's about time they start seeing these amounts of snow. And they have a lot of water missing across the reservoir, so this would not make it up, but it's definitely a good start. And obviously that's just a snowfall, but precipitation would also be very heavy, and this is definitely something that would be nice. However, again, look at the 18Z1. It's a lot lighter with the precip, right? If you look at the morning run of today, it was even lighter. However, it's going back and forth. It's not that it just kept getting lighter with the recent updates. You can see the one at midnight yesterday was heavier. The one in the evening yesterday was also relatively heavy with that precip. But again, There's one at noon yesterday, also very heavy. So it seems like the noons of yesterday and today were the most active for the southwest. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, guys. But definitely an active pattern beyond just this storm system that I'm kind of referring to in today's video. And again, let's take a look at the Canadian. You can see clipper after clipper after clipper. Again, these clippers are a nightmare to forecast. One evening they're showing something else. The next evening, the day before they occur, they're showing something else, and then they actually occur and they do something else. Right? It's very hard to predict, but there will be a series of them. And definitely across the northern United States, you could see warm everywhere else. Pretty cool towards the north where that snow does fall, but we do have that larger piece of energy, picks up a bit more of that moisture, gets a bit more of that strength, and once it does that, it's a pretty impactful system. Within a few 6-hour periods, boom, blows up into a large system. Heavy snow for eastern portions of the Great Lakes and into the northeast, and of course southern Canada. Behind that, again, the Canadian doesn't quiet it down, brings a lot of snow into the southwest, another beast across the Great Lakes, Midwest, and we see another system arriving. Again, honestly, very promising overall for the southwest. Again, with the Canadian, this again isn't remarkable amounts of precip, but it's decent. It's an inch and a half for a lot of the mountainous areas. And again, the Canadian is just out to 10 days, so that's definitely something that's a decent amount of precip. And of course, with those two snowstorms that we're talking about in terms of the total snowfall, it would drop quite a bit, including a lot of those clippers. I was looking at this yesterday. Northern Michigan, even just Michigan and New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, northern Minnesota, the UP could be seeing a lot of snow, not just from one singular system, from many. And just to show you, right, so again, several clippers this week already dropping decent amounts of snow, but there we have that snowstorm, and you can see that it does drop decent snows, if not very heavy snows. Toronto, Quebec, Ottawa, can't forget about the southern Canadian cities that are across southern Canada. Then we have more systems coming through. Again, just through 10 days, a lot of these locations could be picking up over a foot of snow. This is also good news. Snow across the upper plains, they need that. It's been very dry. So again, I'm not going to focus on the details of these storms, right? Or sorry, of this first one that's occurring in a 160-hour time frame, because as you saw just from the GFS and Canadian, there's some differences. However, it is a rather west to east system. It's rather progressive. It probably will be taking a similar shape. It won't be kind of a north to south beast, but there's still a lot of variation. And again, let me show you the European now, because this one kind of doesn't agree with the rest. It does show an active pattern. It does show many clippers, some of them actually stronger than what the other models show, but definitely warm up for many, a bit of snow for some, again, including a lot of Michigan and into southern Canada, so that's already something to talk about. But we do see that activity starting to spew in. And look at this. The thing is that if you recall, the GFS and Canadian do show this Sunday system, right, a standard clipper, but they show it picking up a lot of moisture evolving to our first system. This one is further towards the north. It doesn't do that until much later on. It does try developing into some sort of a nor'easter potentially, and it does do that, but it's a bit further away. So again, it does show a storm. It's just weaker, but I mean, depends for the area. Overall, it's not as big of an impactor, but it does potentially drop quite a bit of heavy snow into the coastal areas, really southern New England. And we do have a large, massive system that moves in, but again, it kind of disconnects from the Gulf of Mexico, so it doesn't have a chance to intensify that well, and it does bring some rain and some snow. But again, it's quite a bit different from what the other two models are showing. And again, look, the European does show some decent rains, potentially brewing across in California and kind of the West in general. So it's honestly not bad. I would say relatively promising. And you can see there's, and again, this only goes out to 10 days, and we'll have to wait and see which model is right. Each model shows something different, including, again, that system that is not that far out, 150, 160 hours out. Once we start getting into the relatively short time frame of 80 hours, right, we will start getting the help of the high res, like the NAM. Again, the NAM only goes out to 84, so it only shows the end kind of the week. It shows these various clipper systems, and what may result in with those, which again are hard to predict on their own, but it doesn't show anything past that. Look at this one. That could drop pretty decent snows for cities like Ottawa, maybe Quebec, Montreal, a good portion of inner portion of New England, but very, very warm temperatures. And again, Thursday will be that hot, the hottest, the warmest temperature. You can't almost call it hot. I mean, goodness, let me take a look at this daytime high of Thursday just to show you. This is the nighttime. You can see, I mean, lower 40s. That should be the daytime high. And boom, look at Thursday. I mean, that's just downright hot for December. And very, very pleasant all along into portions of the northern even, yeah, northern United States. So very nice. But look at that contrast right there, just bone chilling. So we'll have to wait and see, guys. Again, I would say definitely an active pattern. We'll have to see what results for different locations. An active pattern for most, but again, some will see snow, some will see rain inevitably. Not everyone will see what they want. And the UK model goes out to 144 hours. I want to see if it shows anything to do with that snowstorm, because I use this model, but I don't think it goes far enough to show that Sunday or early next week, potentially, this potential strong system. Yeah, it does start brewing something here, but it's not far out enough to see. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to show you. Again, there's that threat for that system with every model you look at. They all show one. The European just shows, again, more of a coastal system, disagrees the most, but it shows a system nonetheless. And you can see this is the Canadian scenario again. This makes impact onto the northwest and southwestern Canada this upcoming Saturday, so less than a week. And it does zoom through the Midwest as a clipper on Sunday. It's a very moisture-laden clipper. It's not moisture starved, and it does start picking up moisture on Monday, Tuesday, and there we have a potential for either a very heavy snow maker for the inner portions of Northeast, or a very heavy rainmaker for the coastal areas. And you can see that definitely would prove true with Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York picking up several potentially inches out of that. And look at that thing definitely intensifies into a monster. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.